Genschier. July 17th, 1942. The day World War II changed forever. The Battle of Stalingrad marks the biggest turning point in all of war. Through one of the bloodiest battles ever fought, the Russians finally put a stop to Hitler's dominant military and began the Allies' path to victory. The Soviets were underdogs who came out on top against the invasive German army. But the question that first comes to mind is, why invade Stalingrad?
Listen, peasants. I understand we are supposed to be headed to the Caucasus to secure oil, but I am ordering an invasion on Stalingrad.
But why, master?
It would be silly to leave such a significant city untouched. After all, it is the head of their industries and communications. And I must prove myself against Stalin, my arch nemesis. I don't understand why they would name such any place after that pig.
This seems quite unnecessary, sir. How will we carry out this mission?
With bombs, my friend, with bombs. We will unleash tons and tons of explosives in just a matter of 48 hours. We will then invade them on land and go from there.
Huzzah! I love that idea. You'll break down Russia just like that man broke down his elbow.
Come on, man.
Hitler planned to weaken Russia with a bomb attack, and he did just that by taking out most of the civilians trapped in the city. The exact number is unknown. Hitler was quite confident he could quickly end this battle. But what he didn't know was that Stalin was just as passionate and was looking to win for basically the same reason.
Glorious Sita, I have terrible news. The Germans are planning an attack on Mother Russia, and there are rumors they are sending Lelov after it to bomb us.
They ain't so, my friend. We mustn't back down against these Germans. No civilian will be evacuated.
But how will we beat such a powerful army?
Stalingrad is too important to lose. We will send all we've got. We will fight the Germans shot for shot.
But glorious Sita, they are too strong.
Yes, and they will push us back. But once they are weak and tired, we will send more troops to surround them. They won't be able to escape our wrath.
For I alert the army.
Yes, and tell them that we will fight until we have won. We will end that Hitler once and for all!
Va!
With both plans in place, the war was set to begin. The Germans fought their way into Stalingrad, which had turned to rubble due to the bombings. The battle became one of close urban combat. Battles would take place between two houses or even in the streets. Things like factory buildings and even sewers would become war zones.
As you can see, this was a very brutal war. It left many soldiers starving, without water and shelter. The only thing that they had was each other. The war wasn't bad for just soldiers. The civilians also had many hardships through this
Hello,
time.
everybody. I'm here with Oleg Brichmovak, and I'm going to be asking him a couple of questions about the Battle of Stalingrad. What was it like in that awful battle?
First, they dropped the bombs. I lost my house and my family. Then the soldiers just surrounded the city so fast. I didn't know what happened.
That sounds awful. Why didn't you just leave?
Stalin wouldn't let us. When we tried to escape, the soldiers said that they would kill us. So we just hid in the rubble, with no food, no water.
So then I said, if there was any more vodka, I would have taken control of the country years ago. But here I am working for you.
Good vodka, good vodka.
Glorious Sita, I come bearing very bad news.
Again?
Yes, the Germans are pushing us back. And we are running out of supplies. Winter is coming, and the troops are losing.
Then I must motivate them. We will not lose to Hitler.
On July 27th, 1942, Russian leader Joseph Stalin released Order 227, better known as Not One Step Backwards. When Stalin saw that his military was getting pushed back and the capturing of Stalingrad was within reach of the Germans, he realized he had to do something.
All the troops see this. It is my letter to them to keep fighting until we win. We will not take one step backwards. Va!
Stalin wanted to reassure his army that they were going to continue to fight no matter what and look to win the battle despite their current situation. This made it clear that they were not retreating.
This is the promise I could find.
You look absolutely stunning. But that will not work. The cold will kill us. Now go fetch warmer clothes.
The Germans were not ready to withstand the intense weather. Their troops were not as prepared as the Russians were. Their tanks and other machinery began to stop working. Their soldiers were freezing and starving to death. This made it the perfect time for the Russians to put their counter-offensive attack into place.
Va, 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 va. We've got them right where we want them. With no fuel and supplies, the Germans will be forced to surrender.
What is our next move, Captain?
We will surround them. We will attack them from the north and from the south. We will envelop them in our army and they will be forced to surrender.
By November 1942, the Russians had Germany surrounded.
The Germans are surrounded.
Let's finish the job and surround them. Va!
Surrender or die.
My knee.
That wasn't an option.
I surrender.
We've done it. Hava! And on February 2nd, 1943, the battle officially came to an end. After years of the bloodiest battle known to man, Germany finally surrendered to the Russians. They announced to the public that, for the first time, they had failed in their war efforts. The battle was devastating to both sides. On the German end, approximately 800,000 people were killed, wounded, or reported missing. Despite winning the battle, the number for Russia was even higher, at 1.1 million casualties. The number was astoundingly high, and to give some perspective, the US lost about 416,800 soldiers in the entire Second World War. Germany was in a time of despair. After losing a battle that at one point seemed so easy and shattering their once invincible reputation, Stalingrad is considered responsible for Germany's doom. Both their military and morale was destroyed and Hitler was humiliated. The end of Germany began the Allies' reign. Now that Germany was just about taken care of, winning the war seemed like a real possibility. Stalingrad is credited with being the turning point in World War II, causing the Allies to get even closer to winning the entire war. And that, my friends, is the end of the Battle of Stalingrad. With Russia defeating Germany in one of the greatest battles of all time, they changed the fate of World War II once and for all. Oh. Didn't see you there. July 17th, 1942. The day World War I, damn it.
There's no pineapple. Okay, shut up, Henry. Are you kidding me? We gotta get through this.
Did you get that on video?
Yeah.
Is he dead?
I think he's dead.
We have won.
I know we must invade Russia for the Caucasus to see.
What was it like in that awful battle?
Well, first they dropped the bombs.
What are you doing?
Let me know. That was perfect.
I'm playing with her.
I was feeling that.
3,